My golden child sister wants to walk down the aisle with me in white. Growing up, my sister, 29 years old, and I never seemed to get along. It was always a competition with her, and she found a way to have it her way all the time because I was a pushover and my parents were always busy, so they just assumed I didn't mind. Once, a boy she liked asked me out, and because I knew she liked him, I turned him down and even offered to introduce him to my sister. I understood that she would be a little upset, but instead she goes around our school and family friends talking about how I threw myself on the guy she likes and what a whore I was. When I graduated high school, I got into a pretty good college on a half scholarship. I posted about it on my Instagram and even got treated to a fancy dinner by my cousins. All this while she was still living with us and attending a community college after my parents persisted. When she found out about the posts and dinner, she went crying to my dad, who has always favored her, took her side, and threatened to not pay for my college for flexing and being ungrateful. There would also be times where he'd buy her whatever she wanted for her birthday, like a new phone or diamond jewelry. But if my mom or relatives bought me anything for my birthday, he'd make a face and mumble to himself about how much money I wasted. For my 16th birthday, my mom bought me a diamond necklace with my name on it. My sister acted like she dropped it when I was away and damaged it by messing up the lock. We tried returning it and getting it fixed after, but they quoted my mom a very high amount to get it repaired. My dad somehow forced my mom to just exchange the necklace for money for family reasons, which was really just to throw my sister a bigger 17th birthday party while he didn't even throw any party for my 16th birthday. His reason? You need to focus on your exams. Many years later, I moved out, took out a student loan, and got a job. My 28-year-old fiancé, 29-year-old, is getting married in May, and I love him a lot. I recently arranged a girls' trip to Vegas for my bachelorette party with all my girls. When I told my parents about this plan, my dad insisted I let my sister come with me too because a marriage in the family is a family event. My sister already booked tickets without even asking me if she could join us, which I found extremely annoying because I felt like I had my hand forced into allowing her to come. After talking to my fiancé about it, I decided I would let her come on our trip also because she's been spamming my phone, practically begging me. On that trip, we were also going to go pick up my wedding dress and dresses for the bridesmaids. During the shopping, she was acting very rude and constantly commenting on the body shapes of other bridesmaids and making comments about how certain types of dresses would not look nice on them. She also picked the most cleavage showing dresses that I was not very comfortable with at my wedding. A few days after shopping, I found out from the store manager that we had 2 white dresses to be tailored. I was confused and asked her what she meant, and she told me that one dress was the one I picked and the other was a short lace mini white dress. I called up my maid of honor, my best friend, and she told me that she saw my sister check out white dresses at the store. I called her up and asked if it was hers, and my dad joined the call and said it was only fair if she also walked down the aisle in white because she was getting older, is still single, and may not have the experience of doing it in her 20s. As a good sister, it is only fair for me to want to do it with her as it shows our close sisterly bond. I told my bridesmaids and fiancé about this, and they were all shocked at my father's behavior. My mom has been pretty quiet about this whole situation, but she was also upset with my dad. I informed some of my cousins, and they all tried to talk to my dad about how that's a bad idea, and he said that he won't let us do it at our chosen venue. We're doing it at our family vacation home in another state to keep costs low, if we don't let her. I never had big parties or celebrations. It was always my spoiled sister who had the big parties and gifts. I picked my family vacation house because it was my late grandmother's house that my dad now owns. My family and friends are offering to help us cover the costs of finding a bigger, nicer venue, but my mom is asking me to work it out with my father and sister, who are refusing to talk to me because I'm being an egoistic bride. When I heard that, I got really mad and yelled at him for all his shortcomings as a father in my life and blocked both of them. His side of the family has been calling me nonstop to calm down and talk to them as well. Am I overreacting? Should I just talk it out and convince her to pick another dress? Update. I sent the link to this post in my family group chat with all my distant relatives too. They all saw it and read it. I got a lot of support from my mom's side, and my dad's side just stopped calling me and is quiet. I think the whole family is just really upset with my sister and father right now. My mom has also moved in with her sister after my aunt scolded her for not standing up for me. I've called my dad and sister with my fiancé and explained that they are not invited to my wedding and that they will never get to be part of my new married life, know my future children or see them grow up, and have lost me as family. The lady at the bridal store canceled my sister's order for free after I told her about this situation. I put a password on the order that only I knew. I'm having a small courthouse wedding and using all the extra money for a grand honeymoon in Europe since my fiancé and I love traveling and met that way too. Thank you so much for your support, suggestions, and advice. It means so much to me. Edit 2. My maid of honor is related to my sister's ex, and when we all met up for lunch this afternoon, I got to know that this crazy idea of wearing white to another person's wedding has always existed. When I was away for college, apparently there was a time she showed up in white as a +1 date for her ex-boyfriend, my maid of honor's relative, at that time. I don't even think this is some grudge against me, but some severe attention-seeking problem. Edit. So a lot of people have been asking about this, so I thought I'd just mention it here. Growing up, like I think until I was a teen, we were in a very weird financial situation, and money was tough. My sister and I were born back to back, and because of our short age gap and our parents being in their early 20s while entering parenthood, I always felt like I was the reason for our financial position. I was more or less the unexpected unwanted child of his. While my sister was planning, have you ever picked up a hitchhiker? What happened? Just about every time I see someone I stop. I kind of got out of the habit in the last couple of years, moved to a big city and all that. My girlfriend wasn't too stoked on the practice. Then some shit happened to me that changed me and I am back to offering rides habitually. If you would indulge me, it is long story and has almost nothing to do with hitchhiking other than happening on a road. This past year I have had 3 instances of car trouble. A blowout on a freeway, a bunch of blown fuses and an out of gas situation. All of them were while driving other people's cars which, for some reason, makes it worse on an emotional level. It makes it worse on a practical level as well, what with the fact that I carry things like a jack and extra fuses in my car, and know enough not to park, facing downhill, on a steep incline with less than a gallon of fuel. Anyway, each of these times this shit happened I was disgusted with how people would not bother to help me. I spent hours on the side of the freeway waiting, watching roadside assistance vehicles blow past me, for AAA to show. The 4 gas stations I asked for a gas can, it told me that they couldn't loan them out for my safety but I could buy a really shitty 1-gallon one with no cap for $15. It was enough, each time, to make you say shit like this country is going to hell in a handbasket. But you know who came to my rescue all 3 times? Immigrants. Mexican immigrants. None of them spoke a lick of the language. But one of those dudes had a profound effect on me. He was the guy that stopped to help me with a blowout with his whole family of 6 in tow. I was on the side of the road for close to 4 hours. Big Jeep, blown rear tire, had a spare but no jack. I had signs in the windows of the car, big signs that said need a jack and offered money. No dice. Right as I am about to give up and just hitch out there, a van pulls over and dude bounds out. He sizes the situation up and calls for his youngest daughter who speaks English. He conveys through her that he has a jack but it is too small for the Jeep so we will need to brace it. He produces a saw from the van and cuts a log out of a downed tree on the side of the road. We rolled it over, put his jack on top, and bam, in business. I start taking the wheel off and, if you can believe it, I broke his tire iron. It was one of those collapsible ones and I wasn't careful and I snapped the head I needed clean off. Fuck. No worries, he runs to the van, gives it to his wife and she is gone in a flash, down the road to buy a tire iron. She is back in 15 minutes, we finished the job with a little sweat and cussing, stupid log was starting to give, and I am a very happy man. We are both filthy and sweaty. The wife produces a large water jug for us to wash our hands in. I tried to put a 20 in the man's hand but he wouldn't take it so I instead gave it to his wife as quietly as I could. I thanked them up one side and down the other. I asked the little girl where they lived, thinking maybe I could send them a gift for being so awesome. She says they live in Mexico. They are here so mommy and daddy can pick peaches for the next few weeks. After that they are going to pick cherries then go back home. She asks if I have had lunch and when I told her no she gave me a tamale from their cooler, the best fucking tamale I have ever had. So, to clarify, a family that is undoubtedly poorer than you, me, and just about everyone else on that stretch of road, working on a seasonal basis where time is money, took an hour or 2 out of their day to help some strange dude on the side of the road when people in tow trucks were just passing me by. Wow. But we aren't done yet. I thank them again and walk back to my car and open the foil on the tamale cause I am starving at this point and what do I find inside? My fucking $20 bill. I whirl around and run up to the van and the guy rolls his window down. He sees the $20 in my hand and just shaking his head no like he won't take it. All I can think to say is poor favor, poor favor, poor favor with my hands out. Dude just smiles, shakes his head and, with what looked like great concentration, tried his hardest to speak to me in English. Today you. Tomorrow me. Rolled up his window, drove away, his daughter waving to me in the rear view. I sat in my car eating the best fucking tamale of all time and I just cried. Like a little girl. It has been a rough year and nothing has broke my way. This was so out of left field I just couldn't deal. In the 5 months since I have changed a couple of tires, given a few rides to gas stations and, once, went 50 miles out of my way to get a girl to an airport. I won't accept money. Every time I tell them the same thing when we are through.